The story is The Little Match Girl, written by Hans Christian Andersen. The setting of the story is on the New Year's Eve. So it's bitterly cold, and the little match girl is characterized as a symbol of misery. The theme of the story is to show the big divide between the rich world and the poor world. The little girl is striving for the basic amenities and needs of the life, and rich are having all the requirements, all the needs, and still they do not have any sympathy towards the poor people, the little match girl. Neither do they have any empathy towards the poor people and miserable people. So, Andersen wants to give a strong message through this narration of a fairy tale that people needs to be more sensitive and they should have more empathy towards the poor and miserable people. Hans Christian Andersen also passed his life in a miserable way, rather his childhood in a problematic way. So I start the story. It was bitterly cold. Snow was falling and the darkness was gathering. So it's a scene of late evening and it's bitterly cold as it is New Year's Eve. So snow was falling over there and darkness is gathering. For it was the last evening of the old year. So as it is indicated, it is the last evening of the old year. It was New Year's Eve. New Year is to come next day. In the cold and gloom, a poor little girl walked. So the main character of the story, the poor little girl, comes into the scene in this bitter cold and in this darkness. A girl who is feeling sad, in a gloom and feeling cold, that girl walked bareheaded. So that girl was poor, she didn't have enough clothes, she walked bareheaded and barefoot. She didn't have anything to wear in feet also. Through the streets, she had been wearing slippers. It is true, when she left home. So when she left home, she had slippers, but now she has lost them. But what good were they? Now the writer raises a question. She was wearing slippers, but they were good for nothing. They had been her mother's, so you can imagine how big they were. So those slippers belonged to her mother. So they were big enough for the little girl. So they were good for nothing. And here the writer says they had been her mother's. So it indicates that the girl has lost her mother also. She is no more. And the little girl has lost them as she ran across the street. So the slippers are lost by the little girl. How? Because she ran across the street from the two carriages that were being driven terribly fast. So the two carriages were driven very fast and the little girl had to cross the street. So in that circumstance, she lost her slippers. One slipper could not be found. So one slipper could not be found and a boy had ran off with the other. And second character, a boy, comes into the scene. He ran with the other sleeper, saying that it would come in very handy as a cradle someday when he had children of his own. So the boy is saying that this slipper would work good as a cradle when he will have his own children. The boy is bullying the girl. He didn't have any sympathy towards the girl. So this shows the cold behavior of boy towards the girl, towards the poor girl. And one more thing that is to be noted, that he is sympathetic for the coming generation, that when he will have children, he is collecting cradle from today, but he is not having any sympathy for the girl child. So that's the biased attitude of the class towards the poor. So the little girl walked around the streets on her naked feet. So the girl was walking in the street on her naked feet. She was not having any slippers, which were red and blue with the cold. So her feet were red and blue with the cold. Here the writer has used touch imagery. As she was walking, her feet became red and blue, and she was barefoot, she was barehead. So a powerful imagery is being used when you imagine the girl walking barefoot and her foot getting red and blue. A scene comes to our mind. That's a touch imagery. In her old apron, she carried great many matches. She was holding matches and she was wearing an apron. And she had a packet of them in her hand as well. So she was holding matches in her hand also. So now matches come to scene. Match play a very important role in the story because they are the symbol of hope for the girl in this world where she has nothing to lose. But still she has hope that she will get good things. Nobody has bought any from her and no one had given her a single penny all day. So she was selling matches, but nobody has bought her matches and she didn't earn a single penny all day. She crept along shivering and hungry. She was hungry and she was moving swiftly, shivering with cold. The picture of misery, poor little thing. So what do the narrator says? She was the picture of misery. Anyone who sees that girl would identify that she is a miserable creature, but still she is not getting any sympathy or empathy from this word. The snowflakes fell on her long golden hair, which curled so prettily. Now the writer emphasizes that she was a pretty girl. She was not that girl that was ruined in the poverty. She was a pretty and beautiful girl, just like other children. So she had long golden hairs and that curled too. Snow was falling on those long golden hairs. But this time the girl was not thinking of her appearance now. So girl has nothing to think about her appearance, how she is looking. Narrator is telling that she was looking pretty and she was having golden hairs. Lights were shining in every window. That's a beautiful sentence. Lights were shining in every window. It's a visual imagery. With listening this sentence, you can imagine that the lights are shining in every window. And there was a glorious smell of roast goose in the street, for this was New Year's Eve. And there was a smell of roasted goose. Why? Because it's a New Year Eve, festive mood. Everyone is in festive mood. So again, this sentence is an imagery. There is a sense of smelling, olfactory. So this sentence again gives a powerful imagery. The girl can smell, and it has been indicated that she is hungry. Now situation is contrasting. She is hungry and there is a smell of roasted goose all over the street. And it's very cold. She cuddled down in a heap in a corner formed by two houses. So now the place comes in which all of the event is going to happen. She held her arms and legs, cuddled in a heap in a corner, and it was a corner of two houses that were projected out into the street. So she sat in a corner, she cuddled in a corner. But though she tugged her little legs up under her, she felt and cooler and colder. So she tugged her little legs, but still she is feeling cooler and cooler, colder and colder. So what option do the girl have? She did not dare to go home. So girl could not think to go home. Why? It is extreme cold. She is not able to sell any of her matchsticks, but still she is not daring to go home, because she has sold no matches and earned not a single penny, because the girl has not earned a single penny, and she is afraid of her father. Her father would be sure to beat her. So the girl is thinking that her father would beat her, and besides it was so cold at home. So one thing that is stopping her to go to home is the fear of her father, and there is too cold at home also, for they had nothing but the roof above them, and the wind whistled through that. So the house was like that, in which wind can whistle. They have only one roof. Even though the largest crack were stuffed with straw and rags, so all the cracks were not filled, only largest cracks were filled with straw and rags, piece of cloths. Her thin hands were almost numb with cold. So she was sitting in the corner and her hands were numb with cold. So again, it's an imagery. You can imagine that her hand is getting numb with cold. If only she dared pull just one small match from the packet, strike it on the wall and warm her fingers. So now she was deliberately thinking that if she lights one matchstick, she would get some heat, because it's too cold. So girl is thinking of heat. Girl is thinking positively. But the situation is cold enough. The cold is a symbol of problems, hardships, and the match is symbol of warmth, heat, love, affection. So she pulled out one, scratch. So the writer writes scratch, so that we can imagine that she scratched one matchstick, how it spluttered and burned. So the spluttering of matchstick and burning can be imagined. It had a warmed, bright flame like a tiny candle. So it burned like a tiny candle when she held her hand over it. So she held her hand over it, it burned like a tiny candle. But what a strange light! The girl imagined. It seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting in front of a great iron stove with polished brass knobs and brass ornaments. So it's the first vision of the girl. She is imagining that she is sitting in front of a big, great iron stove, and that have polished knob and ornamented well. So why she is imagining a stove? Because the stove is a symbol of heat, warmth, love. So it's the vision, imagination of a girl. The fire burned so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. So the fire burnt and it gave out a lovely warmth. Oh, how wonderful that was! The child has already stretched her feet to warm them. So the girl has stretched her feet as if she is warming from the stove. To when out went the flame, and as the flame of the match wiped out, the stove vanished, and there she sat with the burned match in her hand. So it's the vision of the girl. She is imagining that she is in front of a stove and that is well ornamented, and that stove is giving warmth to her. It was the desire of girl. She was in a circumstance of a cold, but she is imagining the heat. Now she decides to struck one more matchstick. She struck another. It burned clearly, and where the light fell upon the wall. So now it's second vision of the girl. She was sitting over there at the corner of the two houses, and she is having the vision. She is imagining what she desires. So in the first vision, she imagines that she is near to a stove which will give heat to her. And in the second vision, she imagined, where the light fell upon the wall, the bricks became transparent. So the girl imagined that she could see inside the bricks. They became transparent for her, like gauge. She could see right into the room, where a shining white cloth was spread on the table. So now what girl is imagining? She could see right into the room. And what is there in the room? A shining white cloth over a table. It was covered with beautiful china, and in the center it stood a roast goose. So the table was covered with beautiful crockery, and there was a roasted goose over there, stuffed with prunes and apples streaming deliciously. So the girl is imagining Stumpus' dinner, a roast, apple, prunes, with table properly clothed. And then her kiddish mind imagined, like a cartoon, a wonderful thing, and it was that the goose hopped down from the dish. The goose hopped from the dish, waddled across the floor, with carving knife and fork in its back, waddled straight up to the poor child. Then out went the match, and nothing could be seen but the thick cold wall. So the girl is imagining that the goose come out from the plate, dish, and it waddled across the floor, walking in short steps across the floor, and hopping down, and straightaway that goose went to the girl, asking the girl if I am good enough for the dinner. So again there is a contrast. She was hungry and she is imagining a roasted goose will come to her from the dish. So the little match girl is imagining in the light of the matchstick. And what happened suddenly? It went out and nothing could be seen but the thick cold wall. She can only see the cold wall. Now cold wall can have two meaning. It's a New Year's Eve and it's a wall of a rich person. So the poor girl is not allowed to walk over there. So it can have a figurative meaning also and it can have a literary meaning also. So this was the second vision or second imagination of a girl. Now she struck another match and suddenly she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. So with next match, what did the girl imagine? That she is sitting over the beautiful Christmas tree. It was much larger and much lovelier than the one she had seen last year through the glass door of the rich merchant's house. So last year she saw a Christmas tree from a glass door. Again it can be figurative or literal, both. So it can be a glass door can be a glass door, but in other sense it may be like this, that the poor girl is not allowed to enter into the glass door of a rich merchant. So that's a rich and poor divide. So she saw that Christmas tree from the glass door last year, and now she is imagining much glorious tree in that match light. So the girl is hoping for the life. And then she imagined 1,000 candles lit up with the green branches. So there were thousands candles that were lighting the branches, and gaily colored balls like those in the shop windows looked upon her, and there were happy balls, gaily balls, colored balls like those the girl has seen in the shop. The little girl reached forward with both hands, then out went the match, and suddenly the match out went, it vanished. But the imagination of the girl doesn't stop. What did she think? The many candles on the Christmas tree rose higher and higher through the air. Now she imagined that the many candles of the Christmas tree were rising higher and higher in the sky, and she saw that they had now turned into bright stars. Now the candles have become the bright stars. One of them fell, streaking the sky with light, and one of those stars fell. So the imagination further exceeded. Now the girl said, someone is dying because the star has fallen. But she was unaware that she is dying. She was unable to understand that the girl is dying. She thought someone is dying. Said the little girl for her old grandmother, the only one who had ever been good to her, but who was now dead. So she was told by grandmother that when someone dies, the star falls. And this is the only character that had been good for the girl. So the girl is thinking, imagining, striving, desiring for what? For love. Because she is imagining her grandmother. The grandmother said, whenever a star falls, a soul goes up to the god. Now she struck another match on the wall. So she struck another match. Once more there was light, and in the glow stood her old grandmother. So now what she saw in the light of match, she saw her grandmother. And that was shining and gentle, kind and loving. The girl said, Granny, oh take me with you. I know you will disappear when the match is burned out. You will vanish like a warm stove, the lovely ghost rose and great glorious Christmas tree. So the girl said that, Granny, you will vanish out when the match will vanish, like the goose, like the stove, and like the Christmas tree. So she quickly struck all the matches she had in the pocket, for she wanted her grandmother to be with her. So the matches flared up with a blaze. The matches were flaring, and she was lighting again and again matches. So it was brighter than broad daylight. So they were much brighter than a daylight. And her old grandmother had never seemed so beautiful and so heavenly, so stately before. So when she was lighting, it was like a daylight, and grandmother was appearing very beautiful and stately, heavenly. She took the little girl in her arms and flew with her high up. So she took the girl and flew high towards glory and joy. So she is escaping this rude word, the sorrowful word, to the word of glory. Now they knew neither cold nor hunger nor fear, for they were both with God. So now they were in the hands of God. So they didn't understand the fear and hunger. So actually the girl dies. But in the cold dawn, in the corner formed by the two houses, but what happened after that? Sat the little girl with rosy cheeks and smiling lips, dead, frozen to death. So in that corner where the girl was sitting, with rosy cheeks and smiling lips, she was frozen to death on the last evening of the old year. So the dawn of the new year rose on the huddled figure of the girl. So new year came when the girl was sitting with her arms and legs huddled, and she was holding the matches, and half a packet had been burned. So she had burned half the packet, but she was holding the matches. And what was the reaction of the people? She was evidently trying to warm herself. People say that she was trying to warm herself, people said. But no one knew what beautiful visions she had seen in what a blaze of glory she has entered with her dear old grandmother. So they were now also unable to understand that what beautiful visions she had before her death. And now she is in the hands of God to a better world, into heavenly joy and gladness of a new year. So in this way the story finishes. She is now in the hands of God, and people were unable to understand that before dying the girl was having such a beautiful vision, such a beautiful experience, and in the hope of warmth, in the hope of heat, she escaped this world. So the writer is telling the story and giving a strong message, teaching a strong message, didactic story, teaching a strong message that the rich people should have a warm, compassionate attitude towards the poor, miserable girl. They must have a better attitude. So the whole story focuses on the insensitiveness of the people. They are unable to understand what has happened to that little miserable creature. Thank you for watching.